Good morning, Willowbrook, and happy 4th of July. Today's devotional passage is from Corinthians chapter 2. The Apostle Paul is continuing his message to the church in Corinth, and his message is about the wisdom and the understanding that comes from the Holy Spirit. He wants the new believers to lean not on their own understanding or the wisdom of worldly leaders, but to embrace the Spirit wisdom that only comes from God. He tells us that when he came to Corinth, he was not very impressive. He says he came in weakness with fear and trembling. Now, I understand the fear and trembling part. It seems like everywhere he goes, he gets beaten or stoned. The leaders throw him in prison or they're trying to have him killed. He knows that people are still seeking to harm him, but he makes the choice to keep preaching. But here he makes a choice to try not to impress the people with his vast knowledge or his skill with words. Paul was an educated Roman. He was certainly a man that could reason or debate with anyone, but he didn't use that approach. He made the decision instead to present the gospel truth just as simply as he could: Jesus Christ and him crucified. Now, this would have been a major contrast to what the people have been hearing from their leaders, who were very polished speakers. Paul says in verses 4 and 5 that he intentionally wasn't using persuasive words of human wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and power, that your faith might not be in men, but in the power of God. Now, I'm not sure what these demonstrations might have looked like, but in Philippi, it was earthquakes and chains falling off. I think God would often use signs and wonders during the times of the apostles to confirm that they spoke for him. Now Paul compares the wisdom of this age with the wisdom of God. Human wisdom, which he says comes to nothing, versus eternal wisdom. Proverbs 3:5 says, "Lean not on your own understanding." Paul is speaking about God's secret wisdom that's been hidden, but they are destined for our glory since time began. Verse 9 starts with, "It is written." Paul is quoting from Isaiah 64:4. "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those who love him." Now, many people today believe that this passage is a promise of our future blessings in heaven. Now, for sure, we haven't seen anything like the glory we'll see in heaven, but our heavenly home is not what he's speaking of here. What no eye has seen is the mystery of the gospel, the revelation of God on earth in the person of Jesus Christ. Long before the world began, God chose to send his Son to die on a cross and become the way of salvation. And in his love and wisdom, he planned to bring along all that love and put their faith in him to share in his glory. Until the revelation, no eyes have seen the glory of Christ. No ears have heard the truth of salvation, and no minds could hope to understand the mystery of God's plan. The definition of the word mystery, according to Webster, is something that is impossible to understand or explain. Paul is telling him that the world could never understand. Verse 10 says, "God revealed him to us through his Holy Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yes, even the deep things of God." The world may understand bits and pieces of God's truth, but they just can't put it all together and see the glory of his plan as a whole. They cannot see how important and how necessary the Holy Spirit is in our lives. Galatians 5 says that if we walk in the Spirit, we will have love and joy, peace and patience, gentleness and kindness and self-control. With the Spirit, we change. Paul says we have the mind of Christ. Life begins to make sense. So our eyes have seen and our ears have heard, and the things of God's Holy Spirit has revealed to us will prepare us and give us direction and purpose to our lives. And we can see the awesome plan that God has been working through us. Have a great day, Willowbrook.